Welcome back to This Day in Scottish History. I'm your host, Colin MacDonald. Today, we travel back to February 20th, 1472, a day that forever changed the map of Scotland. It was on this day that the islands of Orkney and Shetland were officially annexed by Scotland under an Act of Parliament, ending centuries of Norse rule and bringing these Northern Isles into the Scottish realm. And if you're curious about other fascinating events that happened on this day in history, be sure to check out my blog at https://georgebagtownclans.com/thisday. The link will be in the description. For much of the medieval period, Orkney and Shetland were not part of Scotland at all. Instead, they belonged to the Kingdom of Norway, part of the wider Norse world that stretched across the North Sea. The islands had been under Norse control since the Viking Age, and their culture, language, and governance were deeply rooted in Scandinavian traditions. But in the 15th century, political manoeuvring and royal marriages would bring them under Scottish rule. The story begins with a royal union between Scotland and Denmark-Norway. In 1468, King Christian I of Denmark and Norway arranged for his daughter, Princess Margaret, to marry James III of Scotland. Such marriages were common among European royalty, designed to strengthen alliances and secure peace. However, as was the custom, a marriage of this importance required a dowry, a substantial payment from the bride's family to the groom. Christian I agreed to pay 60,000 Rhenish florins as Margaret's dowry, but he quickly ran into a problem. He didn't have the money. To secure the marriage despite his financial troubles, Christian pledged the Orkney Islands as security for 50,000 florins. When that still wasn't enough, he added Shetland as collateral for the remaining 8,000. The agreement was clear. If Christian could repay the debt, Norway would retain its claim over the islands, but if he failed to pay, Scotland would keep them permanently. As the years passed, Christian was unable to gather the funds to redeem Orkney and Shetland. Scotland, seeing an opportunity to solidify its hold, wasted no time. On February 20th, 1472, the Scottish Parliament officially annexed the islands, declaring them part of the Scottish Crown. With the stroke of a pen, the northernmost territories of Scotland expanded dramatically. For the people of Orkney and Shetland, the transition to Scottish rule was not immediate or absolute. Their Norse way of life, from language to legal traditions, persisted for generations. The island's legal system, known as Udal law, continued to be practiced for centuries, reflecting their Viking heritage. Even today, echoes of Norse culture remain in local dialects, place names, and festivals such as Upeli Ea, the famous Shetland Fire Festival that celebrates Viking heritage. The annexation of Orkney and Shetland was a significant moment in Scottish history. It not only reshaped the kingdom's geography, but also strengthened Scotland's position in the North Atlantic. The strategic importance of the islands, controlling key maritime routes, meant that Scotland gained greater influence over trade and defence in the region. However, Norway never officially renounced its claim to the islands. Over the centuries, there have been occasional discussions about their status, and even today, some Orcadians and Shetlanders take pride in their Norse heritage, sometimes questioning whether they are more Scandinavian than Scottish. The story of how Scotland acquired Orkney and Shetland is a fascinating example of how history can be shaped by financial troubles, political marriages, and the simple inability to pay a debt. What started as a temporary arrangement became a permanent shift, one that continues to influence the identity of these remarkable islands. Thank you for joining me today on This Day in Scottish History. I hope you've enjoyed this look at how Scotland gained its Northern Isles. Don't forget to check out my blog for more historical events at http://bagtownclans.com/thisday. Tune in tomorrow for another journey through Scotland's remarkable past. I'm Colin MacDonald. Haste ye back,